So of all decks, Predaplants just got a brand new wave of support. They got 5 new cards and all 5 of them are extremely good for the deck. So of course I have some combos to show to you guys. I have 4 combos. Of those, 3 are 1 card combos and 2 of them are OTK combos. The first combo is going to be a 1 card combo that ends you on 4+ interruptions. And all you're going to need to perform this combo is a single copy of Sunseed Genus Loki. So to start things off, we're going to do a very basic combo from Sunavalon. We're going to normal summon Loki and then link off into Dryas, use Dryas's effect to search Sowing, and then activate Sowing in order to summon Twin from deck. Twin is going to be able to revive our Loki from the graveyard, and this will also trigger Dryas to summon another monster. This is going to end us with 4 plant monsters, but it is going to lock us into plants. From here, we are going to make an Aromaseraphy Jasmine, then we're going to link off into our second copy of Dryas and then our second copy of Healer. The goal here is to gain life points so that you can trigger Jasmine and search for our first Predaplant in the combo. This is also going to be our first new card. I believe its name is like Bipolisp or something. I'm just going to call it level 1. These cards have ridiculous names. But anyway, when this card is sent to the graveyard, it doesn't really matter how, it searches for a Predaplant card. And if there is a monster on the field with a predator counter, it can revive itself, but it's banished when it leaves the field. So now we'll be using the second effect of Jasmine in order to tribute our tree. This will get us our Orphis Scorpio. We'll use Orphis Scorpio, discard our level 1, summon Darling Cobra. This will trigger the level 1 and Darling Cobra, so we'll search for Instant Fusion and our first Pendulum Scale. Off of Instant Fusion, we're going to be summoning our first new fusion monster. On summon, this card lets us search for any Predapt card, so any of the spells, traps, or monsters, and it's a Lone Fire Blossom for Predaplants. So we'll be searching our high scale, and then we're going to use the effect of our fusion to swap out Darling Cobra with our other level 1. This card also lets us search pretty much the entire archetype if sent to the graveyard. So we're going to quickly climb into our Link 4 before setting our Pendulum Scales. Now these Pendulums are probably the craziest support that the deck got. The low scale lets you fusion summon, and the high scale lets you use Pendulum monsters as fusion material. Additionally, the high scale puts predator counters in the field, while the low scale adds your Pendulum monster back to your hand. Specifically the high scale, it can't add itself back. So we're going to do exactly that. We'll fusion summon, and then we'll put predator counters all over the field. We'll be able to grab back our high scale, but we're also going to search for Predaplanting. This is our best trap card for going first. Now since we have predator counters all over the field, we'll be able to revive our level 1. We'll use our level 1 in order to link into Verte Anaconda and use Verte Anaconda's effect in order to make our last fusion monster. So this is our end board. We get 4+ negates. We get a negation for a monster effect, a monster bounce, and the negation for a monster summon. But we also get our trap card, and that's why it's 4+ negates. Our trap card puts predator counters on all monsters our opponent controls and sends a Predaplant monster from our deck to the graveyard. This allows us to search for another predator monster, but because we have our Dragostapelia on the field, it is functionally a skill drain when activated, because all monsters will have predator counters and all of their effects will be negated. Additionally, if we fusion summon back on our turn, and we should be able to because we'll be able to search for our low scale again, we'll be able to pop a card. So it's not just 4+ interruptions, it's also 4+ interruptions with full recovery on the next turn. Or at least in a guaranteed fusion summon, pendulum summon, and a pop. But that's all done with the summon of 1 monster, and you don't even necessarily have to normal summon it. You can summon this thing off of a card like Unexpected Die, or 1-for-1. So our second combo here is going to be a build on the first one. You can do this anytime that you open Sunseed Genus Loci plus a Predapt card. Doesn't matter if it's a monster, spell, or trap. The only exception here is that you don't want it to be Darling Cobra or Orphis Scorpio, because you do need those to be summoned from deck for the combo. The point of this is, instead of searching for the card that you're grabbing, if you open it, you search for your quick play fusion spell, and this is going to allow you to have an additional 2 to 4 disruptions depending on how you use the fusion spell. Now the fact that you can gain that many disruptions off of 1 fusion spell is largely coming from 2 factors. 1, it's a quick place fusion spell, so you're able to trigger your trap card on the opponent's turn in order to pop cards there. But 2, the monster that you're probably going to be summoning off of it is Starving Venom Predator Fusion Dragon, which is our brand new boss monster for Predaplants. And this card is an incredible boss. For starters, it negates a card or effect by tributing a monster with a predator counter on it. And it doesn't just have to be your monster, you could also tribute an opponent's monster that has a predator counter on it to use your effect. So just through that, you can get rid of 2 cards just off of this one. But additionally, if your opponent outs it, it floats into a different monster from your graveyard. So it can float into another disruption by doing that. Now, because you get so much advantage just off of having the trap card and the quick play spell card, this is also an effective way to play around a card like Dark Ruler No More or Forbidden Droplets, since you are going to be able to play just off of your back row. Your monsters aren't really that important except as fusion materials, so your opponent could get the edge on you if they use a card like a Lava Golem, but otherwise you are going to be able to play through monster disruption. And of course, you do get to maintain quite a bit of advantage thanks to your pendulum monsters and all of your grave effects, so it is very easy to recover on the following turn, even if your opponent does manage to break your whole board. So our third combo here is an OTK combo, but it follows a very similar line to the previous combo, so I'm just going to speed through the gameplay up until we get to the point where it differentiates a little bit. So for this OTK, at the point that you set your pendulum scales, instead of going for your fusion monster that you'd normally go for, you're going to go for Dracostapelia. The reason that we're doing this is we need the total attack points of monsters on the field to reach a certain number whenever we fusion summon our other fusion monster, because it gains the attack of all monsters with predator counters on them. So if we have our Dracostapelia on the field first, we can ensure that our monster's attack is 8100 before we put a predator counter on an opponent's monster. This means we'll be able to attack over any opponent's monster that's in attack position for 8100 damage guaranteed. The only exception is if our opponent's monster is unaffected by card effects. For this last combo, I'm going to be showing you a 1-card combo that allows you to OTK through an opponent's monster that was special summoned and is unaffected by card effects. Now, it needs to be the only monster your opponent controls, but that's okay, because if your opponent controls another monster that's in attack position that isn't unaffected by card effects, you can just use the previous combo to OTK them. Now, you can do this combo with a lot of different combinations of cards, but you can't use the Sunseed Genus Loci combo in order to get to this, because that combo locks you into plants, and you're going to be using a monster to accomplish this that isn't a plant. When it comes down to it, this combo is actually very simple. What you're going to be doing is using Starving Venom Fusion Dragon to gain the attack of your opponent's monster. Starving Venom alone can attack over your opponent's monster in this situation, so you can use it to get over the Arrival Cybercytic Nister or something like Ultimate Falcon. However, this becomes an OTK all on its own if you put a Predator counter on Starving Venom and then summon the Predaplant fusion monster that requires 3 darks. I'm not going to try and pronounce its name, I apologize, it's just too difficult. Our Predaplant fusion monster gains the original attack of Starving Venom, meaning it goes up to 5800. Since Starving Venom attacks over any Ultimate Falcon-like monster for 28, if we can attack directly for 5800, that's game. Those are all the combos that I have to showcase for this video, but if I can get 100 likes on this video, I will also post a deck profile to go alongside this. I have done quite a bit of testing with the deck itself, and it is a lot of fun to play. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked what you saw, consider commenting, or subscribing. It really helps the channel grow, and I know I appreciate it.